Hello everyone and welcome to Sammy's Yoga Snacks. It's another beautiful day in Melbourne, so I thought let's take our practice outside, enjoy that sun, kissing our skin. I was slip, slop, slap, so making sure I don't get burnt. But yeah, so today we're going to spend all of our practice either sitting down or kneeling. So I've got myself a nice cushion to sit on. I find that it just eases the tension on my lower back. So that's a nice thing to try. You could use a cushion or a rolled up blanket, or there's something to lift the hips. It can feel quite comfortable. I've also got my yoga blocks today, so I'm going to be using them for some of the poses. Got some water because it is a little bit toasty out here. And so if you're comfortable and ready to go, let's start moving our bodies. So we'll start from the top. We're just going to gently tuck the chin and drop the head down and just feel how our neck is doing today. Mine's feeling a little bit tight on the left, so I'm going to be mindful of that during my practice. And then lifting that chin up, almost thinking of drawing the nose up to the ceiling or the sky if you're outside. Getting that length not only in the front of the neck, but also behind in the back of the neck. And then when you're ready, we can just move the head up and down. Now, if you'd like to use the breath to guide you, you could inhale as you lift the chin and exhale as you drop it down. Just smooth, steady movements. Just like the breath, smooth and steady. And then when we're ready, we're going to bring the head forward and just gentle turns from side to side. Just letting our head go where it wants to and noticing how our neck feels on the side. Maybe coming to center, we might even do some sideways movements. That feels good. Nice. Good. So we'll move on to the shoulders now. So taking some nice gentle shoulder rolls, making them as big or as little as you need today. Thinking about drawing them up towards the ears and back and down, and then reversing those circles. Just getting that gentle movement through the joints. Lovely. From here, we're going to bring the hands forward with the palms up. Give ourselves a little tap on the shoulder. Get some movement for the elbows. One more. And then let's face the palms forward. Maybe some internal, external rotation here. This is a really nice thing to do when you're using the computer, the keyboard, or the mouse for a while, just giving those fingers a stretch, giving the forearms a little bit of movement. Relax those elbows. Get some circles for the wrists down here and the elbows down here. Open and shut the hands. Beautiful. So we're going to do some cat-cow poses sitting down today, just to get some movement for the spine and a little bit of rotation and some side bends as well. So from here, we're going to sweep the arms forward, tuck the chin and the hips or the belly, scoop out the chest, tuck the head so we're shining the crown forward. So really reaching with those fingers. And then we're going to bring the chest and the belly through, a little bit of a lift of the chin. And if you'd like to use the breath to guide you, you can sweep the arms forward on the exhale, and then bring a nice deep breath into the body as we sweep the arms back. So at any time that you need a break or something's feeling not quite right, just gently move out of the pose and have a little bit of a rest or adjust. But yoga isn't supposed to be causing you any pain. It's good to have a challenge, but we don't want to be hurting ourselves. We just want to get a little bit of gentle, nourishing movement for our bodies. Beautiful. When you're ready, we're going to do a little bit of side bending as well. So popping your hand down on the floor, we'll sweep the arms up. We can either have the arm up in the air or tap the fingers behind the ear, and then we're going to come on over. So as we're bending over, we want to ground the opposite bottom cheek into the floor. So I'm bending to the left here, and I'm thinking about really connecting that sit bone on my right into the floor. And then sweeping up over to the other side. And again, I'm grounding that left bottom cheek as I reach over to the right. And if you'd like to use the breath to guide you, you can sweep the arms up on the inhale and then come into a nice little side bend on the exhale. So just focusing on a nice, steady, smooth breath. Not forcing it, just letting it happen. And one more on the other side. Beautiful. Nice. So we're going to do a few little turns, twists and turns here. Nice and slow and gentle here. So we can sweep the arms up and then take them over to one side. Maybe as we breathe in, think of lengthening through the back, but not being rigid, just a gentle upright spine. And inhale and exhale over to the other side. And inhale and exhale. And inhale. And over we go on the exhale. My azaleas look pretty. And coming back to center. So let's get a bit of movement for the hips. I'm going to hop off my cushion for now. Pop that out of the way for later. So leaning back a little bit just to create some space for the hips. A bit of a bend in the knee. We can windshield wiper. You can make these as big or as little as you like. And if you want to get the core involved a little bit more, you can take your hands off the floor and do the same thing with no hands on the ground. Just stirs up the core a little bit, gets that working a bit more. Nice. And then from here, we can either stay sitting up with our hands off the ground or just lean back and enjoy this beautiful sunshine and flex and point the toes. So get those legs nice and active. One more. And relax those legs, making circles any which way. There's no rules for mobility. We just want to move. Be kind to ourselves. Do what feels good. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to move on to our first of our little flows. So we're doing a transitional flow on the floor, vinyasa flow on the floor. We're going to be doing a plank, coming all the way into the ground, doing like a little baby cobra or low cobra, and then coming into a puppy pose. So bending the knees. I'm going to take a little bit of a drink here because I'm talking a lot and I get really thirsty quickly. Okie dokes. So from here, we're going to come into our knee plank today. We want our hands roughly underneath our shoulders with our fingers spread, so we've got this nice sturdy platform. The shoulders actually can be a little bit behind the wrist. They don't need to be directly over. If you're finding you're getting pain or tension in your wrist from being in this position here, what you can do, you can use blocks actually. You can rest the palm of your hand on the block, let your fingers drape over. Gives you a little bit of height as well here, so with your plank, or you can fold the top of your mat a couple of times and rest that folded section on the bottom portion or the heel of your hand. Just fold it there and then rest it. So we're just lifting the heel like we would if we were lifting the hips when we're sitting on a cushion. Okay, it just adds a little bit more comfort, takes the pressure off our wrists. So from here, my wrists are feeling pretty good today, so I'm not going to bother with that. So I've got my hands roughly underneath my shoulders. I'll have a quick look underneath. My knees are underneath my hips. So we're in tabletop or Bamanasana. Actually, I might come down a bit further because by the time I get down onto the bottom, I'll need a bit more space. So yeah, we're in tabletop pose. We're going to push through the floor with all of our hand, the fingers as well as the palms. And this can help activate the core a little bit more. So we're thinking about reaching the back of our upper back towards the ceiling or the sky. And then from here, we can start to move the knees a little bit at a time behind the hips. So as we do this, we want to make sure that we keep those shoulders in line with the wrists. Okay, so you just bring those knees back to a point where Starting to feel like the core's kicking in a little bit, but you're still able to control what the pose itself. So let's just take a breath here, really pushing those fingers, the hands through the floor. And then from here, when we're ready, we're going to start to ease on down to the floor. Now, it's okay to have a little bit of an elbow flare. I know a lot of the times we're taught to keep those elbows tucked in, but if you're finding it's going to get you down a little bit easier to flare a little bit, that's okay. We want to be mindful that the elbows don't come in front of the shoulders, like we're not doing this. So, yeah, so ready to go. We've got in our plank position, our bottoms tucked down. And we're going to slowly come down as slow as we can. Ooh, beautiful. So that's called a chaturanga, okay? So from here, we're going to come into our baby cobra or low cobra. So we'll start with the feet and work our way up. So gently push the toenails or the top of the toes into the floor. That's going to lift the kneecaps. And we're thinking about tensioning through those legs, and that'll help support the spine. We can tuck the elbows in and thinking about drawing those shoulder blades together. My eyes are looking just in front of my fingers and my hands are sort of in line with my armpits. So from here, I'm going to start to lift the chest by drawing the shoulders back and down the spine. And I'm going to add a little bit extra intensity, if you'd like to follow me, by lifting my hands. So there's a lot going back here, a lot happening in the back of my body, my back, my shoulders, my glutes and legs are on fire. Everything's working really hard. Got length in the front and back of my neck. And then when you're ready, let's relax down. So from here, we're going to tuck those toes, big push off the hands, and we'll move on to a puppy pose. So a little bit of adjustment here. We want to keep the hips over the knees, start to walk our hands forward. And I'm going to keep this one nice and active today by spreading my fingers all the way out the front, keeping my head off the floor, but you can rest your head on the ground if that feels good for you. So feeling that lengthening from hip to armpit to fingertip. And then when you're ready, start to lift the gaze and come back into tabletop. So we're going to do those 3 or 4 poses in sequence. We'll take our time. We'll go a nice, long, slow, steady breath between each pose. And at any time that you need to stop and have a break, just hit the pause and have a rest, have a drink. You don't have to keep up. You just go at your own pace, okay? So let's start. Starting in tabletop, let's start to bring the knees behind us, keeping those shoulders roughly over our wrists. We can untuck the toes if that feels good, pushing through those fingers. So this is our plank. And then when you're ready, we're going to exhale chaturanga all the way down. Come into our baby cobra or bhujangasana by pushing the toes into the ground, lifting the knees, drawing those elbows up and lifting the hands if that feels good. And then tuck the toes, big push into our puppy pose. And then let's go again, coming into our plank, nice and tall, zipping up the belly. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale into our puppy. Let's do 2 more. Inhale into our phalakasana or plank. Exhale, chaturanga down. Inhale, nice strong back muscles, legs firing into our cobra, baby cobra. And then exhale into our puppy. Let's do 1 more of these. Into plank. Exhale all the way down. Inhale into cobra. And then exhale all the way into puppy. In fact, I'm going to take my hat off for this one, and I'm going to sink a little bit lower for my last puppy. Nice. On your next inhale, start to lift your gaze back into tabletop, swing down, and we'll sit down for a little bit. Beautiful. It's going to be a really nice way to strengthen your front of your body and your back of your body doing that little sequence. From our plank, slowly controlled all the way down, good strengthening for the front of our body and our core, and then lifting up at the back into our cobra. Great strengthening for the back of our legs, for our back, our shoulders, and then finding that nice lengthening in puppy pose. Nice. Okay, so from here, we're going to stay seated. Have a little drink. So we're going to do some single-legged forward folds today before we come into our lying sequence. So you're going to take the legs out as wide as you feel comfortable. We're doing what we call Janushirasana, or single-legged forward fold. We'll add some twists and some side bends to that as well. So from here, bend the knee. We're going to bring that foot on the inside of the thigh, make some adjustments. Now, if you find that there's just a little bit of tension on the hip that's kind of annoying you, we grab our block, we tuck it underneath here, and just gives us a bit of support here. These blocks are so good. You can do so many things with them. So yeah, so, you know, sometimes if you're feeling a bit tight in the hip, having that extra support just under the outside of the thigh or the knee can really help. So from here, we're going to take a nice big inhale up. And then actually in turns, instead of folding over the leg, we're going to fold forward for the first one. So think about folding at the hip crease and then letting the hands drop down, a little bit of a tuck of the chin. We're going to keep our big toe pulled towards us on the straight leg so this leg stays nice and active. And then inhale, half lift, just to add a little bit more length to the spine before we allow a gentle roll of the spine. Allow our head to relax. We still want to keep that chest nice and open for our breath. We're just going to take some time here, a few breaths, just to notice how this pose feels on our body. And again, if you're feeling any discomfort, just slowly bring yourself out of the pose, readjust, and then come into an intensity that feels good for you. And we're going to inhale, half lift, and then exhale, come all the way up. So this time we're actually going to turn to the side and do the same thing. So sort of same, but different, just a little bit of a mini rotation. We'll inhale up and then exhale over. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, relax. So as we're bending forward, we want to think about grounding the opposite glute on the floor, that we're not picking up our bottom off the floor. So it's okay, we're not forcing ourselves to bring our nose to our knee. We'll just let gravity do its magic. Then we're going to inhale, half lift, and then exhale, come back up to sitting. We'll do a bit of a rotation here now. So bringing your fingertips behind your ears. Inhale, finding some length in that spine, and exhale, turning towards the bent knee. Now you can keep your hands behind your fingertips, or you may like to rest a hand on your knee or behind you. We're not pulling ourselves around, we're letting that core do a little bit of work, but also allow some softness in the throat and the jaw. And then still keeping that straight leg active, pointing the toes to the sky. Taking a couple more breaths here. That sun feels good. And now while we're in this rotated position, we're going to add a side bend to our Janushirasana. Oh, sometimes these Sanskrit words get a little tricky. So we're going to add a pravriti, which is a little bit of rotated side bend to this. So on your inhale, we can either have our fingertips behind our ear, or we can stretch the arms up in the air, and we'll come into a side bend. Now this arm here, you can keep it on your knee, or you can pop it, actually you can pop it anywhere that feels good. You can pop it on the inside of your foot, even catch your toe. So we want to keep this chest again nice and open. Just looking at it in a direction that feels good for your neck. We've got these nice open rib cage. Just notice how the breath feels in this side bend. And then when you're ready, we're going to look towards our big toes on the exhale. And then inhale, spiral out of our side bend. Beautiful. So let's change sides. Take the other foot in. And again, add support if you need it. I don't mind having a bit of support here. And then from here, we'll keep this leg nice and active. Keep the toes pointed upwards. Taking a beautiful breath in. Oh, that breeze feels good. And then exhale, fold at the hips. Allow the arms to float down. Inhale, half lift, a little bit more length. And then exhale, a little tuck of the chin. Allow the spine to relax a little. You can take a bend in this knee too if you're finding it's hurting the back of your knee. And take some steady breaths here. We're having such beautiful spring weather here. And then we're going to inhale, half lift to straighten the spine, and then come back up into our seated position. A little mini rotation to the straight leg. We'll do the same thing. Inhale up. Exhale, float over with a fairly straight back. Inhale, half lift, and then allow that spine a little softness. And just allow our body to go as deep as it wants to go. Let it do its thing. Notice where we're feeling this lengthening, the strengthening. And again, trying to ground this opposite glute into the floor. And then when you're ready, we're going to inhale, half lift. Exhale, come to the center. Add a little bit of rotation here. So inhale up. Exhale, turning over to the side. Or you can have your fingertips behind your ear. I think we did that last time. There's so many options for yoga poses. There's not a one size fits all. We just do what we can and enjoy the process. And then let's add a little side bend to this. So popping your hand wherever it feels good, on your leg, on your knee or your leg. We're going to inhale to find length through the side of our body. Oop, there goes my drink bottle. And over the side. Oh, that feels good. Notice where you might be feeling this. Does it feel good, or do you need to come out of it a little bit? And then when you're ready, we're going on your next exhale, we'll look towards our straight leg, and then inhale to spiral up. Take that leg out, give a little bit of a shimmy shake before we come into our lying poses. So making your way down onto the ground as most comfortable as you can be. Okie doke, I might have my head this way so the sun's out of my eyes. I'm going to use a brick for my bridge today because I just want to feel a little bit of support for my lower back, so I'm going to have that handy. So I'm going to pop our feet into a position that feels good for our bridge, our Setu Bandha Savangasana, and then we can scooch our bottom as close to our ankles as we want to today. Start to work our way down slowly, slowly, slowly. Do a head bun adjustment. Beautiful. Okay, so from here, we want to relax the arms, feel that contact with the back, the shoulders, the head, the feet to the floor and the bottom. Taking a few breaths here. No need to rush. And then when we're ready, we can tilt the pelvis up. Notice how that feels. Take an inhale, start to push through our legs, lift our hips slowly off the floor. Now, if you want to get a little bit more opening for the chest, you can wiggle the shoulders a little bit more underneath you. We want to feel the big toe, little toe, and heel push through the ground, thinking about drawing the chest to the chin. The head's just gently looking upwards. So, my block, where's that block gone? I'm going to pop this block underneath, sort of sit it in my upper bottom or lower back area, wherever feels comfortable. Oh, that feels good. So a little bit of support here. If you are trying this, have a little play with what edge that you want to use. That's the beauty of it. You can just decide which one feels good for you. Like again, there's no one size fits all. You can even take the legs, oops, something else just knocked over my block, legs out a little bit. We've got my shoulders. I want a bit more opening of the chest here today. Taking a couple more of their breaths here. And then when we're ready, I'll pop my feet back. I'm going to lift the hips up, get rid of that. And then slowly melt the spine down, one vertebrae at a time. Nice. From here, we can bring the knees to the chest, have a little bit of a massage. Maybe some rolls. Use the hands to guide your knees as we roll this way and that. And then when you're ready, we'll come into a lying staff pose. We can pop our hands down by our side or even just hold the back of our legs if we need a little bit more support today. And then straighten the legs. Pull the toes down towards us and think about really pushing those heels up towards the ceiling or sky, wherever you're doing your practice today. And then just connect with the breath. Smooth, slow and steady. Oh, my legs are shaking today. Smooth, steady breaths. This is great for strengthening the legs. A little bit of a stretch for the back of the legs, maybe if you're feeling tight here. And my core, I can feel my tummy working here. A few more breaths. And then when you're ready, slowly lower the legs, pop them on the floor. And we'll do a few windshield wipers. We might spend a couple of breaths on one side. So taking the arms a little bit away from you, grounding those shoulder blades or the back of the shoulders into the floor. We'll take them over to one side. And look the opposite way. If you want a bit more intensity, or if you like, what you can do is this top leg, you can even straighten it. I might have to adjust a little bit here. So what I did was pick up my hip, just rolled onto my hip a little bit here. So picked it up, rolled it over, then I'll straighten my leg. So it adds a little bit more intensity to the twist, but you don't have to do this. You can keep it bent as well. I'm finding my shoulders are lifting, so I'll make some adjustments. And then when you're ready, picking up the feet. And again, you can have your feet as wide or your knees as wide as you feel comfortable. I'm going to pick my hips up and rest on the outside of my hip. If you want to do that, keep those shoulder blades grounded and either extend the top leg or keep it bent. And you can look the opposite way if that feels good. And just notice how things feel in this gentle twist. Taking some smooth, steady breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll pick up the knees, come back to center, and get ready for our Savasana. So I'll put my hat on back on. Okie dokie. All right, so I think I might lie on my side for Savasana today, but before we do that, let's take a few letting go breaths. So we just want to release all that working breath that we've been using, just having a nice big deep breath in and out, and yeah, relax our body and muscles. So stretching out if that feels good, taking a nice big breath in, maybe tension from fingertip to toes, and then exhale, letting it go. Let everything go heavy. And inhale, stretch it up, finding length, really stretching the toes, stretching the legs, fingers, arms, and exhale to relax. And then coming into a position that feels good for you. I'm going to use my little cushion. Oh. All right, so taking some time to get comfortable. Don't know if this is going to work for me today, actually, with the sun beating down. That's better. Okay, so let's just take some time to relax. Savasana, it's the best part. Don't want to skip this part. Just allows our body to rest and to reap the rewards of all our movement. It's okay if you've got a little bit of a busy mind. Your thoughts are swinging like monkeys swinging in a tree. Just imagine that those thoughts are blowing away with the breeze. We can worry about them later. Just notice how our body feels lying, resting, being at peace. And then when you're ready, just start to introduce some gentle movement into your body, wiggling fingers, toes, curling, stretching. Maybe taking a nice big deep breath in. And then when you're ready, we can slowly start to make ourselves wake up a little bit more and sit up into a nice comfortable position. Or we can stay lying down. You can finish the class lying down. That's okay. Oh, I feel so much better. I hope you do too. Let's, if you'd like to, bring your hands together in front of your heart space with a gentle bow as we thank our amazing bodies for moving and for being still this morning, for our breaths for nourishing us, and for our minds for guiding and supporting us. Thank you so much for joining me for today's practice, and the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. If you like this sort of thing and you want to keep seeing me put these videos on my channel, and thank you for those people that have already been watching. It's such a daunting prospect doing this, but I'm having so much fun doing it. So thank you so much. Just hit the like or subscribe, and I wish you all a beautiful day. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Bye.